Hey there everybody, my name is Kat Bowser. I'm your resident fantasy therapist. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been about a week. I've had some family stuff I've had to deal with. My husband had an adverse reaction to the COVID vaccine, so we've been dealing with that, and that's fun. So I'm going to try to get more videos out this week. I can't guarantee I'll have my usual 2, but I will try. So for those of you here for the first time, my name is Kat Bowser. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm also a writer working on my first couple of books, one the start of a series, one a standalone. And on my channel, I like to talk about the psychology behind writing, the psychology behind the characters, behind plots, behind plot twists, things like that. I'm always open to suggestions, so if there's any specific topic you guys want me to talk about, let me know. I'll be glad to look into it. So today we're going to do a tag. It's called the Uncommon Questions tag. It's by Foggy Fiction originally. I will link them in the description below. And basically it is a collection of writing questions that are kind of uncommon, but are still kind of fun to answer. So there's 20 of them. So I'm going to just launch right into it. If you guys think these are fun, feel free to do the tag yourself. As I said, I will link the original author in the description below. And so let's just get to it. So question number 1, what were the things you mainly wrote about as a kid? Oddly enough, when I was a kid, I was really into writing contemporary, which is interesting because now I cannot stand contemporary, either to read or to write. And I really think it's because at that time we were reading a lot of contemporary at my school. And so that was really what I was exposed to. And so that's what I wrote. Question number 2, what is a story you have shelved that you would love to revisit? Well, I don't know if I have necessarily have stories that are shelved, but these are all individual story ideas that I haven't started on yet. And this isn't even the whole stack. Basically, whenever I get a story idea, if it has a character and it has a plot, I put it in a notebook if I think it will grow into something more. And then when I have time, I work on outlining and kind of making the story make more sense. So I really don't consider those shelved. I consider them not started yet. Question number 3, what is the story you have shelved that you don't plan to ever revisit? Probably contemporary. Like I said, when I first started really writing, I really started with contemporary. And I just don't find it interesting anymore. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy reading it. I don't enjoy writing it. So the little stories I did when I was in junior high or elementary school that were contemporary, yeah, I might pull a character or 2 from there, but the stories themselves, nope. Question number 4, what character do you most want to see fan fiction written about? I would love to see fan fiction written about any of my characters, honestly, because to me that is the biggest compliment. If I had to pick one, I really don't know, because some of my stories are one-shots, some of them are series. I would love to see fans just kind of do what I do, in that you take a character that's not given a lot of limelight, kind of some of the side characters, secondary characters, and I'd like to see what the fans do with it, because I think it's interesting. That's some of my favorite stuff to write. I still write fan fiction, so that's some of my favorite stuff to do. Question number 5, what story have you written that has the biggest revisions? Well, I'm still writing a lot of them. Revision-wise, though, I'd say my main one, Coexist, has gone through a lot of revisions over the years, because I first got the original idea for it like in 6th grade. So since then, I've developed characters, plots, world, all that kind of stuff, and I've let go of some ideas, I've refined some ideas, I've started writing, I haven't liked how it was going, I've rewritten, so probably that one, just because there's so much information in it. Question number 6, what genre would most surprise people to learn that you read? Probably horror. I do like horror, but I'm very picky on the type of horror I like. I'm not a huge fan of like the stereotypical monster horror, but I do like survivalist horror. I do like psychological horror, that kind of thing. So I tend to write really happy stuff, I love happy endings and things like that. So I think probably horror would surprise people the most to know that I actually do enjoy it. I have dabbled in it a little bit. I think I need to improve my writing in that genre before I launch into anything solid, though. Question number 7. What is your worst writing habit? I have so many ideas. And I used to just jump on whatever idea I had at the time. And needless to say, I never got anything done. So what I've actually started doing is I've started doing my notebooks that I showed you guys earlier for each story idea I get. And then I plot out time. Okay, for the next 2 weeks, I can work on this story. Now, if I get on like a spree, like I'm really writing well, I can extend it. But basically, I'm keeping myself from writing too many projects at the same time because I think then nothing happens. So I've gotten better at it. Number 8, story you will not write but you wish someone else would. I honestly don't know because there's so many story ideas out there. Like every time I see a new book come out, it usually has a story idea. I'm like, that's really interesting. So I honestly don't know. The people that are writing right now, they have tons of great ideas. So I just like seeing what they can come up with. Question number 9, who is your favorite character? Do I have to pick? Really? I have to pick? I don't know. Because I really like a lot of my characters, but for different reasons. I really like Ani because he has prejudice he's dealing with. For my other stories, I really like Nada because she can't speak, so she has to use sign language to speak, and so she's fun to write. In my current one I'm working on, I like Ember because she kind of is interested in history and doesn't take things at face value, so she's fun to write. So I really can't pick one. I like a lot of them for different reasons. Number 10, your least favorite character. Ramsey, easy, from Coexist. He's an important character, and he can be fun to write just because he's so deplorable. But he is not, I don't like his personality. He is a bigot. He is conceited. And he just makes things so difficult for characters that really don't deserve it. And so yeah, Ramsey. Question 11, what is some writing advice you are glad that you ignored? That's a good question. I think any writing advice that has always or never in it, I don't pay attention to, because there's always exceptions to the rule. So I'll go with that. Any writing advice that have you must always do this or you must never do this, I'm glad I ignored it. Number 12, at what moment did this feel more like reality and less like a dream? Probably when I finally sat down and started writing the first draft. I mean, before that, it was always in my head, like, hey, I want to be a published author one day. But then the more I learned about traditional publishing, the more it felt like this like far-fetched dream. And then I learned about self-publishing, and the more I learned about it, the more it was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. Number 13, what is your favorite part of writing? Oh, I love the characters. But more importantly, I love the characters' interactions with each other. Characters are fun by themselves, but they are a blast when you finally have them start to interact with each other, because there's so many different things you can do with it. That is my favorite thing to write. I love doing what we call in fan fiction, we call it the hurt comfort, which is basically where characters support one another and give each other support, emotional support. That's so much fun to write. Number 14, what is your least favorite part of writing? I really enjoy writing, so this is a hard question. Probably editing. Not necessarily, I'm trying to think. I do understand why you sometimes have to take scenes out. I don't like doing it. For me, it's kind of the grammar. Grammar and just, the overall writing rules. I think sometimes they I think sometimes people are so set on you have to follow these rules that it can hurt a story. So probably that, because you kind of have to find the balance between, okay, yes, you need to follow this rule, but you can break it here. Number 15, do you have a lucky charm or a ritual when you sit down to write? You know, I think the only thing I can think of is I have a little stuffed wolf. He's about this big. I got him when I was 6 or 7. My grandfather bought him for me when we were walking through a department store, and they just had him in like a little section. And, you know, I ran and grabbed one, ran up to my parents and my aunt and my grandpa. My grandpa said, you know, put it in the cart, we're going to get it. So my grandfather passed away in 2004, and the wolf is about the only thing left I have of him. So he is my constant writing companion. He sits on my desk and he watches me write. And I don't know, it gives me a sense of comfort to have him there. Number 16, do you write in silence or in noise? I cannot write in silence. It drives me freaking crazy. The one exception is if I'm writing a scene that is very, very technical, then I probably want less noise, but most of the time I want something in the background. I have playlists on my computer that are usually instrumental. Sometimes they have lyrics, but usually instrumental. And I have them arranged by emotion. What emotion do I want this scene to have? And so I will put on whatever emotion I'm aiming for. So yeah, I am definitely a write with music person. Number 17, what has surprised you the most on this journey? Probably, honestly, learning about self-publishing. When I was a kid, it had a really bad rap. It still kind of has a really bad rap. But speaking as a reader, of all the books I've read in like probably the past 2 years, I have gotten so much enjoyment out of the self-published ones because they don't follow the traditional format. They don't follow, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that. And that makes them so much more interesting. So learning that there were people out there that have self-published and been successful and had very professional looking books was a surprise to me. But it was also kind of what prompted me to pursue this, in that I can self-publish, because I think my books, they do things that traditional publishing kind of frowns on sometimes, and so self-publishing is the route for me. So learning about that, I think, was a big surprise, but a welcomed one. Number 18, what is a grammar rule you struggle with the most? Oh Lord, lay and lie. I've had it explained to me so many times and I still never get it right. I never get it right. Honestly, I will try to find another word besides lay or lie to use because I know I'm not going to get it right. And I don't know why it's so difficult. Like I said, I've had this rule explained to me so many times and I still just plain don't get it. And I will always get it wrong. So if I have the option to use another word, I'm going to use another word. Aside from that, I use fragments a lot in my writing, usually purposely, but occasionally not on purpose. So that one too. Number 19, what is a book that changed the way you write? I really don't have one. I've read a lot of the different like writing style books, and they each have something to offer, and they each are very good and interesting. Character arcs is probably my favorite. I can't think who wrote it right now, so I'll have to look that up and I'll put it below. But that one I think was probably most interesting. The ones that talk about, you know, you have to have certain beats, you have to have this in Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, those actually don't help me, and I really don't know why, that they just don't. I think maybe because I just kind of follow my own pattern. I'm not sure. But yeah, I can't really think of one in particular. Character arcs was probably the most helpful, but I wouldn't say it changed the way I write. Number 20, what is your secret writer dream or goal? Well, I think everybody kind of wants to be able to do this for a living. I mean, that would be awesome. I think everyone wants to make a lot of money. We know it probably is not going to happen, but I think everybody at some point has said, hey, I want to be the next great American novelist or whatever. For me, I'd love if fans had debates online about ships and stuff from my stories, just because, I don't know, I think that would be, to me, that would be saying that people care enough to get into passionate arguments about stuff in my books. That would be awesome. Maybe it's a weird one, but I kind of view it as kind of the same as fan fiction. Fan fiction, fan art, that would be the biggest compliment to me, because it means that someone cared enough about what I wrote to revisit it. So thank you, Foggy Fiction, for this tag. It was a lot of fun to do. As I've said before, if you guys want to do it, I will tag the original author below, and I will also put the questions below so that you guys can do it if you so desire. And as always, if you guys have any comments or suggestions, please leave them below. I'll get to them as soon as I can. I'm trying to jump back into the regular schedule this week, so hopefully we'll get things settled before too long. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss when I upload. And until next time, stay safe. Have a good one.